the Rav. There's a relationship, and therefore he gets of the essence. Like eventually, the tummy can become a Rav. The earth cannot become a sun.
We last night, Rabbi, we ended with what was called a paradox, where the effortless giving off of light by the sun was contrasted with the mashpia giving hashpah. And then it was said that you may think the sun is greater, but there's an advantage, or there's something we're looking at to do with the mashpia.
What we focused in this vein in terms of mashpia, but we said that the seichel is the result of rotzon. The seichel by the mashpia is a reflection on the fact that the Rav wants that seichel. Like we said, what is the primary, the fundamental want of a human being is to be a human being. In other words, and we said also, why is there that primary want to be a human being? It's not to show off that he is a human being. It is because that is what relates him to his creator. This is where he has a creator element, a godly element in him. This is what God wanted him to be. This is why he wants to be a human being. In other words, this inyan that he is a human being lifts him to a status which is beyond what he is. It is lifts him and relates him to his own source. The same thing is in mashpia. Seichel is a derivative of rotzon because he has a relationship to that inyan. He has a rotzon. Why does he have a rotzon? Because he senses in this inyan the truth of the godly truth. And from this, and this is how he understands things. So, in the case of the sun gives off light, and it is the essence of the sun and so forth. But it is not that the sun wants to be a sun. The sun doesn't have such a want. And the sun does not give to the world this inyan, I want to be a sun, and I want you to know that I'm here. Doesn't have such a thing. But the mashpia, yes, the mashpia is, I want to understand this seichel. I want to know this truth. And I'm teaching it to you because this truth is something which you should also know, because I want you to know that truth also. Which means it is actually expressing an essential inyan. Not the fact that I understand it, but why do I understand it?
I guess if it was expressing such an essential inyan, what's the wanting doing over there? Surely if it's so essential, it would just be. Being seems higher than wanting.
All right, this we discussed already several times, and here's the answer. Being is is higher than the wanting, and being is beyond hashpah. Being is beyond world. In world begins at the wanting level.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so in a certain sense, then the sun just being and doing, giving its light is higher, but in a worldly context, so is the mila of the activity of the mashpia, his wanting, his relating.
What was the question?
Want to repeat that?
Who's this?
I don't know.
The huh? You heard of it? It's It seems like the just being of the sun and its effortless way of giving off light is perhaps higher. Maybe that's not in a worldly context, but it seems superior. Rather, contrast with the mashpia, his activity and his focus. That seems like on a worldly level that might be higher.
Well, and the answer is that that is not the case. Because what you have in the mashpia, this want, this is why we emphasize. What is the significance? I want to be a human being. Why do I want to be a human being? This is what we're contrasting. It says the Darwinian's stupidity. I want to be. Why should I want to be? I'm not a real presence. Why do I want to be? I want to be because I sense the real presence. They got the reality. This is where the Rosa is coming from. In that respect, that is much deeper than the sun being there.
Okay, but it's still covering. Okay, it still has to do with being in world and trying to cover that distance, or
No.
regain that connection, sensing that I have a purpose beyond. I want to be human. I want to be here to be his representative. So
to be what he, that's right.
Must come a certain day where we just are, or no?
No.
We
are, on the contrary, come a certain day where we are all that he of him.
But then the wanting would be disappeared because it would just be it, no?
Yes, then it will be, but that it will be an atzmi element, a completely different level.
Okay.
Like we said, also love it, there will be, and this is Moichem Chadoshim as we're going to see.
Okay.
Last couple of days, I hear with we learning here to appreciate to be a human being, and
isn't that amazing?
It is indeed, and I see that, and that there are human beings around us, that we have, that there are people around us.
Pretty fortunate.
So I wanna know whether I wanna know about being a Jew, of being a Yid, and Jewish people being around us, and significance of learning,
Okay, this is all to understand the principle that we are learning here. We're not learning about human beings here right now. We are trying to understand what is seichel, what is hashpos seichel. So we use this to illustrate the union. And we're not learning about wanting to be a human being. That's not the focus. That's not a topic at hand.
I understand it. It's just something that I picked up for past few days.
Okay, that's fine, because we are bringing this in as a means to understand what we're learning. Right. All right. You should not be so surprised that wanting is superior to being, because the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya that Machshava, Dibur, or Maisa of Taryag Mitzvah HaTorah is infinitely superior to the Nefesh itself. This is straight out in the Tanya, right almost in the beginning.
This thought, infinitely superior to
To the Nefesh itself.
Because I just understood that as meaning that the mitzvahs are rooted in his.
We're talking about Machshava, we're not talking about mitzvahs per se. We're talking about Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. Machshava, Dibur, Maisa is the end of the Kochas HaNefesh, the lowest. It's
The
called
lowest.
Levushi.
Oh, so that's to say our involvement, our thought, speech, and action in mitzvahs,
Mm-hmm.
is higher than your nefesh itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's showing on that this level of activity has this superiority. This wanting is superior to just the being. Okay, it's very mysterious.
This is what we are saying. What is the motivation? This is what I'm repeating this. Why does he want it? What's the motivation behind this want? Is it his own experience that he's wanting?
Here meaning the human beings.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not in it for his experience. He's not involved for
What is the motivation behind wanting? Because this want is where he is connected to his maker.
And where he's connected to his maker, but the nefesh, Elaine, the nefesh by itself is anyway connected to its maker.
And the deepest element of this nefesh is that it wants to be this nefesh. Because that expresses that connection in its purest state.
But that's again expression rather than just being.
No. What do you mean expression? Mesiras nefesh. Is that an experience? But that is the deepest expression, quote expression, of its connection to its maker.
That manifestation in this low world is somehow higher than whatever the nefesh is.
That's right.
Cleaving to Hashem in a ruchnius sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, I don't
It
really have a way
expresses
to...
the truth, the godly truth. It expresses its recognition of the godly truth.
Okay.
Not its experience, but its recognition.
Okay. Again, I think I'm stuck on this is like we just said, like was just said right now. This is an expression, or this is an experience of the godly truth. So the nefesh.
Not an experience. It's recognition. I repeat it. I said
Recognition.
recognition.
Recognition means an entity in this setting, in this world. No?
The famous quote from the Alter Rebbe. I don't want you Gan Eden, I don't want you Ne'elam Haba, I want you alone. What is that?
I guess that's his nefesh talking through him, yeah? I mean, that's...
Is that an experience? Gan Eden and Ne'elam Haba, that's an experience.
Right. So it's the opposite of experience.
It's the opposite of experience.
Dismissing all...
It's just the very truth of the godly truth itself. Which is which is not in me. This is what I'm connecting to.
Mm. But at the outset, the nefesh is there and remains there anyway. Comes the nefesh into a body, it makes a statement like that. But nefesh alain is always with Hashem.
On an experiential level, not on an essential level. This expresses its essential level. On the essential level, there is no nefesh. There is only its creator, and only God. I'll give you a little handle for this, at least an approach to. You have this house, this room, and the room consists of what? The walls, the floor, and the ceiling. Yeah? These walls, what do they demarcate?
The walls demarcate the space.
Which space do they demarcate?
Which space?
Is this a separate space? The walls create in their own space?
Oh, it's a pre-existing space.
It's the reality of space in general,
Mm-hmm.
right? That never becomes part of the house. You can move the house and this space remains where it is.
Yeah.
And the most profound and most important aspect of the whole house is that space that it demarcates. In other words, the most important part of the house is not itself at all. It is a pre-existent space.
Right. That's a handle because the nimshal is that
The most important inyan in the nefesh is not the nefesh.
Okay.
It's its maker.
And through Torah mitzvahs on this low level in a
This
group.
is where we are actually one with Him. We are doing His will, not our will, but His will.
Right. So nefesh kind of gets beyond itself, gets back to the reality of what it is.
All right. All right. So we went into oil, into ha'ora. So that oil is different than shefa. Where in shefa there is an element of the etzem, such as the mashpia is mashpia because he wants to be mashpia, and because of the truth of what is mashpia and so forth, he's got some kind of a impetus in doing that. And if his shefa does not reach its target, that is something which is disturbing to him. Whereas in oil, it's just giving off what it is, and it's not involved in this giving it off. It does not. It's not at all preoccupied, interested in giving it. It just happens to be. B'derech mamela, and it does not become affected by the fact that it is now giving light to the earth. As the simple illustration is that if it is a clouded day and the light of the sun does not reach the earth, it does not in any which way affect the sun. And then we said a higher, a deeper inyan. Oy v'chayes ha-nefesh. Also we said that in a chayes ha-nefesh there's also that element that eine mutat b'zeh, that the chayas hanefesh, that we get from the nefesh, the chayas element is just a reflection, a representation of the fact that the nefesh is chay. It is not an activity on the part of the nefesh to give life to the guf. And then by the nefesh there is an additional point. This is what we're going to say now, which is one of the most difficult in Yonim to really understand. The oid, and another point that is true by the chayes hanefesh, which is not even true by the sun. Sheinei muchra b'hagiluyim, that the nefesh is not bound to the giluyim. In other words, the fact that the nefesh should be his galus and should actually give life to the guf, this is not a hechrech. This is not a compelling element. Not that the nefesh has to stay in an expressed and in a revealed manner.
Not sure we know the line where we are.
The line begins hanefesh, a third from the bottom. Sheine muchra b'hagilui. This is even further. This is oid, and furthermore, in the case of the nefesh, that the nefesh is not even muchra b'gilui. It could have a nefesh, and there is no gilui hanos. There's no chayas coming out of the nefesh, which is a further statement that this is not an element of its etzem.
Of what?
Of the etzem.
Can you say that again? The part before that has a nefesh, but there's no chayes coming out of it?
No, there is chayes in the nefesh, but not coming forth. Not the chayes that comes out to be mechayes the guf.
That's when a person's not alive?
No. We're talking about the nefesh per se. Talking about the nefesh. The nefesh is always alive. The nefesh is always alive. But the gilui of the life, the gilui ha-nefesh is not the hechef. It could be unto itself where it doesn't express itself.
And that shows that the life it gives the life it gives the body is not mina etzem. Is that what was said?
Right. Eine mucher b'gilui. The sun is mucher b'gilui. The sun cannot withhold its light. If the sun is there, then automatically its light will come forth. Because this coming forth of the light and the sun and the essence of the sun as it is unto itself is intricately interrelated. That what the sun is both unto itself, and it is also expressing it. That's part of it, of what the sun is. It is what it is unto itself. It is light, and the fact that it's throwing its light is part and parcel of what it is. The nefesh, and the nefesh is different. There is the inyan than the nefesh is. The nefesh is chai beyatzim, and the life that he gives up to the guf is b'derech memela. He doesn't have it's effortless. Doesn't have to make an effort and intentionally give chayes to the guf. That's one thing. In that respect, it is similar to the sun. And then there is another level in this, and that is that this chayes itself that the nefesh is misgala, so that by its presence there is a life in the goof, is something which is volitional. It's not mukhrach.
Why are we talking
The nefesh can be whole out.
We're talking about the sun, and we said v'chein, the nefesh haguf, and you're saying that it's different than the sun. I don't understand.
So you have a kasha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
That
just pointing out a diuk about the chayas and nefesh.
right. So the nefesh is an additional point. The nefesh is also the same as it's on that einen mutrot b'zeh, that is not preoccupied in giving of life. And then there is also an additionally at einen muchrach begilui. The nefesh is altogether not muchrach to be mezgal.
Even though we say that the nefesh was forced to come into the body.
Then that which is forced, this is mitzad, a different kind, not mitzad atzma. This is something that milmailo is being forced.
Uh-huh.
But the nefesh on its own doesn't have this.
It can overcome being forced to do. The sun cannot not shine, but the nefesh can choose to not give life to the body, even though it was sent here to do that. Is that the point?
The nefesh was sent here to do that. As a result of the fact that the nefesh was sent here to do that, the way this actually is presented is that the nefesh recognizes the great mila of relating to the body, and therefore, but missionally, it reveals itself.
Uh-huh.
Because it recognizes the mila of giving chayes to the body.
So at the outset, it didn't really want to get involved, but now that it's here, it's okay.
And now that it's here, it recognizes the mila of being the slavish in the group.
And like last night we said, life is a continuum, life is never interrupted, but here we're sort of saying, if it wanted to, the nefesh
Would withhold the life.
could.
In other words, let's put it this way, that until such time, let's say the sun is shining light, whether or not its light is useful or it's not. The light is coming out all the time. But the nefesh, the light of the nefesh, the chayes of the nefesh comes out only when there is a purpose for it.
Ready?
Only when it wants, yes.
But it's not
And yet,
shefa.
then it's not shefa. Because the nefesh, the chayus that the nefesh gives is not a translated chayus, like in the case of shefa. In a seichel, it translates the seichel for the Talmud. It's not. It's just the lachai is the way the nefesh is. That's simchai. That's mislabish in the goof.
It's giving life only when there's purpose.
What?
In contrast to the sun, we're saying the nefesh.
The
was
nefesh is
giving
misgalo
life
when it
only-
wants to be misgalo.
And it was said when there's purpose.
When it was sent in the goof and sent with the mission.
Uh-huh.
Is this connected with the Indian of tsaras? Because the Rebbe wrote that tsaras is a whitening of the skin, which means a withdrawal of the light from the surface.
No, it's not the same. They're talking about kedusha over there. They're talking about there is a klipa. There's an impurity. Tsaras is a surface impurity, not a withdrawal of life. V'hainu, let's just finish this. I have to actually double. The feature calls Zehu ha'ora levad, because there is only a ha'ora. What does ha'ora mean? Ha'ora means it is merely a statement that what the nefesh is, not, or what the sun is, and what its effect is, not its intense intent and its in relationship. Okay, then now we have to interrupt. Okay, have a good day. Online.
Where are we leaving off here?
What?
Where are we leaving off here?
Him, Heino.
Our Levav.
Okay, thank you.
If Kiva were here, he would announce that the Fabrengen is at Yehuda Forster's house, sponsored by Yehuda
thank you.
Forster and Baruch Bush.
And
I have a Shalom Zalfer.
Yeah.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, yeah.
691.
Okay.
yeah. We don't have an example because we do not see the nefesh before it comes on to the goof. But the nefesh before it comes into the goof doesn't give off chayes.
And it's not the Gilui.
So,
Okay, so we